Hello and welcome to English Time Daily History. Today, we're diving into one of the most compelling what-if scenarios in modern history. Imagine a world where the outcome of World War II was drastically different. It's a chilling thought, but one pivotal battle could have steered humanity down a completely alternate path. We're talking about the Battle of Stalingrad, a conflict so brutal and decisive that its outcome literally redrew the map of the 20th century. So, grab your thinking caps, because we're about to explore the alternate outcomes of World War II that could have changed everything. To truly understand the gravity of Stalingrad, we need to set the scene. By 1942, Nazi Germany seemed unstoppable. They had blitzed through Europe, and their sights were set on the vast resources of the Soviet Union. The initial stages of Operation Barbarossa were devastating for the Red Army, which suffered immense losses and was pushed back deep into its own territory. The German war machine appeared invincible, a juggernaut of steel and fire rolling eastward. For the Allies, the situation looked bleak. Britain was holding on by a thread, and the United States had only recently entered the war. The fate of the world seemed to hang in the balance, resting on the shoulders of the beleaguered Soviet defenders. Stalingrad, a city named after the Soviet leader Joseph Stalin, became the focal point of this epic struggle. For Hitler, capturing the city was not just a strategic objective. It was a deeply personal and symbolic one. He believed that taking Stalin's namesake city would be a crippling psychological blow to the Soviet people and their leader. Strategically, Stalingrad was a vital industrial hub and a critical transport link on the Volga River. More importantly, its capture would open the path for German forces to advance south towards the Caucasus oil fields. These oil fields were the lifeblood of the Soviet war effort. Without them, their tanks, planes, and trucks would grind to a halt. Control of Stalingrad meant control of the Soviet Union, economic hugula. So, let's explore our first what if. What if the German Sixth Army had actually succeeded in capturing Stalingrad? The battle raged for over 5 months, from August 1942 to February 1943. It was urban warfare at its most savage. Soldiers fought block by block, house by house, and even room by room. The city was reduced to a smouldering ruin, a landscape of rubble and death. Imagine for a moment that the German forces, through sheer attrition or a strategic breakthrough, had managed to crush the Soviet 62nd Army and secure the city. The immediate consequence would have been catastrophic for the Soviet Union. With the Volga River cut off and the route to the Caucasus open, Germany could have seized the oil fields. This would have not only fueled their own war machine, but also starved the Red Army of its most crucial resource. A German victory at Stalingrad would have likely forced the Soviets into a strategic retreat far eastward, perhaps behind the Ural Mountains. The psychological impact would have been immense. The fall of Stalin's city could have broken the spirit of the Soviet people and its military, which had already endured so much. With the southern front collapsed, German forces would have been free to pivot. They could have mounted a renewed and likely successful offensive against Moscow, or they could have reinforced their armies in North Africa or fortified the Atlantic Wall against the anticipated Allied invasion. The entire strategic calculus of the war would have shifted dramatically in the Axis's favor. Now, let's consider the broader geopolitical implications. If the Soviet Union had been knocked out of the war, or at least severely crippled, the pressure on the Western Allies would have been immense. The D-Day landings in Normandy, which relied on the bulk of the German army being tied down on the Eastern Front, might have been impossible or far more costly. The United States and Britain would have faced a Nazi Germany that controlled the vast resources of Europe and a significant portion of the Soviet Union. This fortress Europe would have been a nearly impenetrable bastion. The war could have dragged on for many more years, leading to a negotiated peace that left much of Europe under Nazi domination or even an eventual Axis victory. The world we live in today would be unrecognizably different, shaped by a triumphant fascist ideology. But that's not what happened. In reality, the Battle of Stalingrad marked a monumental turning point. The Soviet victory was a testament to incredible resilience, strategic brilliance, and immense sacrifice. Operation Uranus, a massive Soviet counteroffensive, encircled the entire German Sixth Army, trapping nearly 300,000 soldiers in a pocket of ice and starvation. Despite Hitler's furious orders to fight to the last man, the freezing, starving Brembens, this was the first time a German field army had been completely free. This was the first time a German field army had been completely a maniable defeat for the Third Reich. The myth of Mai, not just for the Allies, not just to be not for mot for the famar more norman more just for so but to for so I but to proper for but what to for so for pam would and with sem up and and ok and at what the victory had an electrifying effect on Soviet morale. The people who had suffered so much finally saw a glimmer of hope. They saw that the invaders could be beaten, could be destroyed. This psychological boost was immeasurable and fueled the Soviet war effort for the remainder of the conflict. For the soldiers of the Red Army, Stalingrad was proof of their strength and a powerful symbol of their determination to defend their motherland. From this point forward, the strategic initiative on the Eastern Front belonged almost exclusively to the Soviet Union. They transitioned from a defensive posture, desperately holding on, to a relentless offensive that would eventually push the German army all the way back to Berlin. The geopolitical consequences of the actual outcome were profound. The victory at Stalingrad solidified the Soviet Union's role as a major player in the Allied coalition. It ensured that the war would be fought on two fronts, stretching German resources to the breaking point. This pressure on the Eastern Front was absolutely crucial for the success of the Allied landings in Italy and later in Normandy. It forced Hitler to constantly shuttle troops and resources back and forth, unable to concentrate his forces effectively. The post-war world was also shaped by this victory. The Red Army's powerful advance across Eastern Europe established a sphere of influence that would lead to the formation of the Eastern Bloc and set the stage for the Cold War. The division of Germany and the political landscape of post-war Europe were direct consequences of the military realities established on the ground, realities that began to take shape in the ruins of Stalingrad. So, when we look back at World War II, it's clear that the Battle of Stalingrad was more than just a battle. It was the pivot upon which the fate of the war and indeed the world turned. A German victory could have led to a dark future under fascist rule. The Soviet victory, as costly as it was, ensured the eventual defeat of Nazi Germany and shaped the geopolitical dynamics that defined the latter half of the 20th century. It stands as a stark reminder of how the course of history can be altered by the courage, sacrifice, and resilience shown in a single, desperate struggle. What do you think? What other what-if scenarios from World War II keep you up at night? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you so much for joining us on this historical exploration. We hope you found it as fascinating as we did. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to English Time Daily History for more deep dives into the events that shaped our world. Ring that notification bell so you never miss an episode. Until next time, stay curious.